bei Duft den neuen Song aus dem Sägezahnzyklus und all diejenigen, die schon gegessen haben und ihre Meitlinge trinken, rumnuckeln, sollten endlich mal ihre Nase bewegen und auch die Tanzfläche bewegen. Und nun geht es los.
You are listening to Das Bundesliga Show, yeah, on the Lock Betting podcast. You can follow Lock Betting on Twitter at LockBetting.com. That's at LockBetting.com. It is the same handle for our Instagram and our TikTok account as well. Now, these are very, very useful tools. On both TikTok and on Instagram, you can find short videos. I'm talking 30 to 45 second videos giving you useful data to bet with for the key games happening over the weekend. So there's videos going up constantly. They do pick out the most relevant data for the key games and therefore giving you useful information to bet with. It's well worth a follow. That's at LockBetting.com across the board. Moving back to Twitter. On Twitter, the pin tweet is always the P&L from the previous month. So at the moment, at LockBetting.com on Twitter, you can see the P&L for the month of December. I've left that up a little bit longer because it does feature our World Cup futures. I will be replacing that with the month of January after the weekend. And that's equally impressive because it does feature our NFL futures. Just landed another one, actually, with the Kansas City Chiefs winning the AFC Championship. LockBetting.com has now delivered 116 months in a row of transparent track profit. So make sure you sign up for the month of February. It's going to be a crazy month as per usual. Domestic soccer action, the return of the Champions League, Europa Conference League. We have tennis, we have NBA, we have NHL. And of course, we have the Super Bowl as well coming in the month of February as we look to build on our already massively successful and profitable NFL season. So head over to lockbetting.com and sign up for the service that has delivered 116 months in a row of transparent track profit. So we start our Bundesliga slate here by looking at the Friday game, where Augsburg are hosting Bayer Leverkusen. Bayer Leverkusen are the 3-4 favourites to win the game. It's 14-5 on the draw, and it's 3-1 here on Augsburg. I like Leverkusen to win the game, but I trust them more to score 2 goals in this game. So getting the team total at exactly the same price as the money line does appeal to me here, because as soon as Leverkusen get that second goal, we cash the play. I don't want Leverkusen to score 2 goals here and end up drawing the game or losing the game, which is possible because Augsburg showed against Dortmund they are capable of scoring goals, particularly on the counter-attack. But ultimately, I do think Leverkusen will win the game. I just think over 1.5 team total is a more sensible way for me to bet this. Leverkusen have actually never lost an away game in Augsburg, and they should have enough to bounce back from a defeat last week against Dortmund. Prior to that, they had put together a 5-game Bundesliga winning streak. And under Xabi Alonso, they have moved from the bottom 3 into the top half, whilst Augsburg coming to this one having failed to win 10 of their last 11 matches. So I think Leverkusen roll here, but I do think this will be a game that features goals. Leverkusen have scored 5 times across their last 2 away league games, while Augsburg have conceded 3 or more in 2 of their last 3 matches. So I'm very, very happy to take Leverkusen on the money line, but my preferred play here, just to give me a little bit more security, would be the team total, because getting them at the same price, if you ask me the question, do I think Leverkusen are going to win? I'd say yes. Do I think Leverkusen are going to score 2 goals? I would say definitely. So I'm going to take the over 1.5 as my play here for the Friday game between Augsburg and Bayer Leverkusen. Up next, we look at the game here on Saturday between Cologne and RB Leipzig. Leipzig are the 10-11 favourites. It's 13-5 on the draw, and it's 11-4 here on Cologne. Leipzig are a far better home team than they are an away team. So when you look at taking Leipzig away from home, you always need to be careful because they can disappoint. And in situations like this, I don't think there's enough line value here on Leipzig at 10-11 minus 110. So I would be turning towards the goals. Over 2.5 goals here is available at 4-5. And Cologne are definitely capable of delivering a goal in this game. The head-to-head matches have seen Leipzig undefeated in the last 3, but both teams have scored, cashed in the last 4 straight. Both teams have scored in 9 of the last 10 head-to-head meetings, and over 2.5 goals have been delivered in 8 of the last 10. Coming into this game, both teams have scored in 5 of Leipzig's last 6. Leipzig are without a clean sheet in the last 4, although they are also without a loss in the last 20. And over 2.5 goals has cashed in 9 of their last 10 matches. So I think there's significant value there on the selection, and that's what we'll go with. Considering it's happened in 90% of Leipzig's last 10 matches, we will ride the over 2.5 goals here at somewhat of a generous price of 4-5 minus 125 here for this one. Up next, we jump across to our next Saturday game, and we are looking at Borussia Dortmund here. They are at home to Freiburg. Borussia Dortmund are the 4-6 minus 150 favourites. It's 3-1 on the draw, and it's 15-4 on Freiburg. I predicted earlier on in the season that Freiburg would regress and they would drop from their impressive league position. They could not maintain this start. And if that's going to be true, then they should really be losing to teams like Dortmund, because I do think the top 3 will ultimately end up being Bayern, Dortmund and RB Leipzig. So I'm obviously going to take Dortmund here. But I think if you want to take extra value, if you want to get extra value instead of taking 4-6 minus 150, adding on both teams to score is a pretty decent way to go, because that gets you all the way up to 5-2 plus 250. And you definitely have the data for this when it comes to both these sides, particularly Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund have won, and both teams have found the net in their last 2 league head-to-heads with Freiburg. 5 of Freiburg's last 7 Bundesliga away games have ended with 4 or more goals scored, and 3 of Freiburg's last 4 away league games have actually ended in defeat. So I'm going to ride with Dortmund here. A safer way to play this would be to take Dortmund and the over 1.5 goals, or the Dortmund team total. I don't think this will be a game that's settled by a 1-0 scoreline. I do think Dortmund are going to need to score a couple of goals to win it. And that way you're not relying on Freiburg to score. If there are just 2 goals in this game, Dortmund can score them both. If there are 3 goals in this game and Dortmund win 3-0, you still cash the selection because Freiburg didn't need to contribute to it. If you take both teams to score, you do need a Freiburg contribution, but then the price tells you that. The price isn't safe. The price is a plus 250 selection. So that's why you're taking the gamble in order to win more money. But given the data, I think it's appealing. I do think Freiburg will be good for a goal here. And I do like that play at the price of 5-2 plus 250 here for this one. Up next, we jump over to the late game where Borussia Mönchengladbach are hosting Schalke. Schalke are an absolute dumpster fire at the moment. They are definitely getting relegated. There's no hope for them really in any game that they play in the Bundesliga at the moment. And this one is absolutely no different. Therefore, getting Borussia Mönchengladbach at the price of 4-7 on the money line does seem more than generous. It's 10-3 on the draw, and it's 9-2 here on Schalke. I'm trying to work out why this isn't shorter than minus 200, because I was expecting a minus 220, minus 250 line, and just simply because it is under minus 200, suddenly it goes into lock contention. Now, I don't like giving out locks that are this short of a price, but I really cannot make any case whatsoever for Schalke getting anything from this game. Gladbach have won all 6 of their home league games against sides in the bottom 6 ahead of this game, and Schalke are enduring the worst ever winless away run of Bundesliga games in their history. The choice is absolutely clear. Borussia Mönchengladbach should win this game. They have scored 12 goals in 4 home league games against bottom 6 opponents. Schalke winless in their last 36 Bundesliga away games, an all-time record, not just for the club, by the way, for the entire Bundesliga. And actually, all of Gladbach's league wins this season have come by multi-goal margins. So it could be worth looking at a handicap here as well. Gladbach minus 1.5 is incredibly priced at 6-4 plus 150. So a decent plus money selection here on Gladbach to beat the worst away team in the history of the Bundesliga. That definitely appeals, and I think my play here would be to go somewhere in the middle. So I am going to middle out that selection. I'm going to go Gladbach -1. What this does is that if Gladbach win by a single goal, you don't win any money, but you don't lose any money. You end up pushing the selection if they win by a single goal. If they don't win the game, you end up losing your money. You end up losing the bet. But if they win by 2 goals or more, which they definitely should, you cash the selection. It gives you more protection than the minus 1.5. And this is available at 10-11 minus 110. Great value there. I do think Gladbach are going to do a job on this terrible Schalke team tomorrow evening. We jump across to Sunday. We look at a game between Stuttgart and Werder Bremen, where Stuttgart are the even money favourites is 13-5 on the draw, and it's 23-10 here on Werder Bremen. We've got this one on the slate because I really love the goals here. I think over 2.5 goals is an auto play at the price of 3-4 for this game. It's a bet that has landed in each of Werder Bremen's last 6 games and also in 7 of Stuttgart's last 9 games in the league. So I think we're set up for goals. If both teams score here, it would be the 7th Bundesliga game in succession for Werder Bremen. Nothing here to me says that it's going to be a tight and cagey game, and we'll ride the data and take the over 2.5 here for this one. Up next, the final game we're going to look at is Wolfsburg at home to Bayern Munich, where Bayern Munich are the 4-7 favourites. It's 10-3 on the draw, and it's 4-1 here on Wolfsburg. Bayern Munich haven't won a league game since they've come back from the World Cup. So they really do need to get their shit together because the chasing pack is beginning to catch them. I think this will be a game that delivers some goals. I'm not confident in really taking Bayern Munich, although the data does support the fact that they should win this game. They haven't lost an away game since September last year, and they should have enough to continue that run here against Wolfsburg. Bayern Munich haven't scored fewer than 2 goals in any of their last 8 visits to Wolfsburg. And if they can continue that here, they should be able to win this game. But I think the goals is the safest way to go, as opposed to taking a team who have come back with 3 pretty lackluster 1-1 draws, which is Bayern Munich. 9 of Wolfsburg's 11 Bundesliga home games have seen 4 or more goals so far this season, and Bayern Munich have scored at least twice in each of their last 8 visits to this ground. Bayern Munich have failed to keep a clean sheet in 6 of their last 7 Bundesliga games. So you would think Wolfsburg are good enough to contribute towards the scoring here, while you'd be hoping that Bayern Munich can contribute a couple of goals. So there's a few ways in here. The over 2.5 goals individually is too juiced, as is the both teams to score selection. So you could take both teams to score with over 2.5 goals, which is priced up at 7-10. Or you could take the over 3 goals. Now, over 3 goals pushes if there are exactly 3 goals. It loses if there are 2. And it wins if there are 4. There's a little bit of juice for this selection as well. The over 3 is priced up at 3-4. The 10-11 line is over or under 3.25, with the price of 6-5 available on the over 3.5. So the bookies are definitely expecting goals. Obviously, the data is there for everybody to see. I'm going to take the over 3. I do like both teams to score an over 2.5 goals selection as well. But ultimately, play this however you want as long as it involves goals. I would rather be betting on the goals than betting on this Bayern Munich team, who for me, given their form so far, are not an appealing parlay piece at the price of 4-7. Do I think they'll win the game and get right here? Yes, they won in midweek in the Pokal by 4-0. João Cancelo made his debut, looked very, very good. There are signs that things are coming together, but that's one game. They've drawn their first 3 games in the Bundesliga, all by 1-1 scorelines. And therefore, I would prefer to go with the historical data and the data surrounding the two teams here that this fixture does produce goals. And we'll go for the over 3 here for this one. Closing out with your lock on the show. I was very tempted by a double lock for this show, but that bit me in the arse last week because Bayer Leverkusen could not contribute towards the scoring at home to Borussia Dortmund, which is incredible. Anytime Borussia Dortmund keep a clean sheet. I mean, we saw them defending against Augsburg. They were absolutely woeful. But when we needed them to be woeful at the back, they decided to keep a clean sheet. So we were unlucky with that. We did easily land the other half of the double lock in the game between Hoffenheim and Borussia Mönchengladbach. That was my first choice lock, so I should have just left it at that. This week, I'm going to learn my lesson, and I'm going to go for one lock, and it's going to be from the game between Borussia Mönchengladbach and Schalke. So I'm going to take Borussia Mönchengladbach minus 0.75 here for this game. Now, I've done a lot of shows where I've explained Asian handicaps, but sometimes when a play is a lock, I feel that I need to do it again. So what we need to cash this selection fully, and this is available here at the price of 18 to 25, what we need to cash it fully is for Borussia Mönchengladbach to win by 2 goals. However, unlike the -1, we do win half of our money if they do win by just a single goal. So rather than getting the push as we do at the -1, we get half of the money that we should win. So instead of getting the full payout of a £72 profit and getting 172, we will end up getting 136 instead. So a £36 profit if they do just win by a single goal. So it's a way to make sure you win if Borussia Mönchengladbach win. I do think they'll win comfortably, but this makes sure that you win something. Obviously, the money line means that you win the full return no matter what happens at the price of 4-7. But I find it difficult taking 4-7 locks here. What you see is a load of people just criticising you for doing it. My belief is winners are winners. But I am still going to bow to my critics here and try and push for the bigger payout. And I'm going to take Borussia Mönchengladbach minus 0.75 on the Asian handicap line. This is also good for you guys because it gives you more experience with the Asian handicap markets. If you're betting all of these different kinds of markets, you do end up learning more about soccer, not just from betting via me, but also for your personal bets as well. Giving you the data once again, Schalke are factually the worst away Bundesliga side in history at the moment. And this Mönchengladbach team have scored 12 goals in 4 home league games against bottom 6 opponents. And all but one of Gladbach's league wins this season have come by multi-goal margins. So when they're on, they tend to turn it on and they tend to win comfortably. And there's no better team to face if you're looking for a comfortable win than the worst team in the Bundesliga, the worst away team in history in Schalke. So your lock here is Borussia Mönchengladbach minus 0.75. That's it for me. Good luck with all your bets as always, and thanks for listening.